Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining the Behind Company Lines podcast. Today we have Shao, CEO and founder of Finli, a simple, secure, and cost-effective digital platform that financially lifts service-based small businesses. Lori, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I'm really excited, not only because you're also based in Los Angeles, and we get to chat about the micro environment that we have to, kind of, work with as founders, but also the background experience that you come with. And I'm always excited, to talk to founders who are really have this focal point on small businesses because, there's such interesting little intricacies of small businesses that, most SaaS-based companies don't have to deal with or the kind of different ecosystems that they have to run within. So it's always fascinating diving into the details of what your product does and who you're affecting. But before we get into all that, what were you doing before you started Finli?
Well, thank you so much for having me. So I've been in financial services now for, wow, uh, just under 21 years. Prior to building Finley about 3 years ago, I spent my entire professional life in financial services, just building financial technology for fintech and payment companies, worked with, just from a person with an idea to change the world to some of the very notable names on a global level. Spent a portion of that time at Silicon Valley Bank on the payment innovation team, and then most recently an executive director at JPMorgan in a similar capacity. And prior to really focusing my career on financial technology and
Yeah,
fintech, I spent probably the first 5 to 6 years in my
yeah,
early corporate life in community bank and just really understanding
yeah,
the pain behind small businesses, right? Trying
yeah,
to understand the root cause of why 70% of them fail within the first 10 years in business and just
yeah.
identifying a scalable solution through financial tools to truly scale and target those root cause from the get-go.
It's so fascinating coming from the community banking center, working with companies who are, growing and scaling, whether it's life-changing products or innovative products. What are do they share a lot of the similar, kind of, pain points that they see as businesses as they grow and scale, or how are they slightly different that you've seen in your experience working with both and now obviously focusing on small business?
Yeah, you know what's interesting is I think my time working with financial technology platforms has really opened my eyes to the pipeline of innovation, right? There's always somebody disrupting an antiquated space for XYZ market. And then I take a step back and I see just my life, right? As a mom who is trying to maintain a full-time job and a spouse who is also working. We have two young kids, we have seniors who are regressing, me as a woman pretty much manages the household and all of the nuances of making sure that we're functional. It just mind boggles me that I still had to order a checkbook to function, right? I still have to have cash ready to pay for our babysitters and
Yeah,
so forth. And so I just found it very ironic that, I help build financial technology and architecture in my day job
yeah,
for everybody else. Yet my personal life, being supported by so many essential small business owners are just
yeah,
still stuck in the legacy way of running their business. And that's
yeah,
when I realized, okay, I don't see a pipeline of innovation for this space through my day job. And I feel so deeply passionate about wielding change for this essential workplace that I
yeah,
decided to just build Finley.
yeah,
And hence Finley, it was really the genesis of Finley was really stemmed from a personal need. I tried to build Finley
yeah,
for myself. I tried to support all of the service providers that are pretty much an extension of our families, right? Whether it's the daycare center, the senior care center, those who come and clean our home and making sure that that the pool is clean and the pests are controlled.
yeah,
And
yeah,
at the end of the day, you're like, wow, we are supported by so many essential workers that are
yeah,
aspiring to do so much, as small business owners, micro business owners, yet
yeah,
they've been under supported by modern day
yeah,
innovation.
yeah.
And we're trying
Well,
to change that.
yeah, well, that's so fascinating because we think of, I think maybe 5 years ago or so, we thought about Square as being the truly
Mhm.
innovative product for a lot of whether it's, small businesses or even, vendors at a farmer's market, can use their product. But where, I guess, not to target Square, but where do products like Square kind of miss in terms of reaching a broader audience of the essential workers that everyone needs? And we have payment services like Venmo and Cash App and all these different things that disperse, that really need to come together because, for essential workers or small business owners, that are running more service-based products, even, it's that much easier if they can centralize their payment process, and that much easier for their consumers to actually purchase their product. But where do companies like Square and others alike miss in terms of accessibility for these individuals or these companies?
Yeah. So first of all, everyone is doing the best they can, to support the market, and the market is huge and the needs are very different, which is why there is enough room for multiple players, right? To support the customers that they're aimed to support. And so one of the things that I think is a huge differentiator with Finli is what we recognize is the smaller the business, right? So if you're a small business or a micro business, the smaller the business, the more complex their needs are. Because I give you this example, like a dog trainer, right? A dog trainer is never just a dog trainer. A dog trainer is also a dog walker, a dog sitter, a dog groomer, and a baker of dog biscuits. And so all of these different roles, it translates to multiple different business needs, business models, right? Various conditions that they need to set and manage. How in the world would a micro business owner of one trying to manage all of that at scale, right? And bring on more customers, support their existing customers, get paid on time and effectively and affordably? It's almost impossible. And that dog trainer would just need to use Finli. So what the market that we play is for small and micro service businesses that have multiple different product lines and really want to do more with very little, right? And I think that attests to me growing up in a household of immigrants, as a first generation immigrant, me firsthand how my parents and all of our community friends and family members hustle, right? We make something out of nothing. We're trying to put food on the table, like failure is not an option. And we have to just make it work because, and then we're all aspiring to pursue this American dream. And we're going to be, we're like, pivoting like no one else and being as creative as no one else and just like trying to make it work. And so that is the customer base that we support. If you aspire to have to work on different things, if you aspire to branch out and expand your business model, if you aspire to reach out to your audience and deepen those relationships, like you need help. And instead of a team of people there to support you as your back office, you just need a digital back office that handles your payments, your collections, your communications, your invoicing, and just your CRM. And that is essentially what Finli represents. We play very well with many other, payments and service providers out there, but our customer base is not a customer base that can figure out Zapier, and connect various technology into one and just make everything work seamlessly. Our customer base, they're on the go and they really do need a lot of support, digital back office in their pocket so they can manage and run and have full visibility control on their business. I'd like to say that, with Finli, you can be a guitar instructor teaching out of your parents' garage and run a scalable global operations and collect payment from anyone, anywhere, and provide your services, by being on the Finli platform. So we do have a pretty unique audience, but that audience is vast, right? If you take a step back, how are we being supported day to day? We're here today because somebody's taking care of our pets. Somebody is, cleaning our homes. Somebody is making sure that food is delivered. That is the essential workplace that Finli plays in very, very well. And that's the persona that we hope to elevate, and take to the next level.
Yeah. It's incredible to think about and you're so right, the different possibilities that someone and different, I guess, job functions someone can take on as, my family came from Mexico and a lot of them do a lot of different things because they have a specialty in a certain craft and they kind of expand that specialty and that skill set to other, whether it's project-based or employer-based, experiences. And it's really fascinating. And you're right, the innovative nature
Or
What is the cost? I don't know if you have a number, but what is the cost associated with a worker who is expanding their marketplace that was maybe, I'm not sure if the cost was too great, and then, Finley kind of the disruptor to allow them to take on that cost. But I'm just curious about what does it cost someone to add different lines of business that now is becoming a little bit more easy and consolidated through the product?
absolutely. So on average, we consolidate about 7 to 9 different processes and
Wow,
yeah,
that's a
workflows
lot.
on one. Right. So think about, the example that I just mentioned. I mean, if somebody needs either a CRM or Excel or paper or, a bunch of different vanilla folders with paper files and sticky notes to remind them who needs to pay them, what services they're providing, right? And then the nudging, like think about um you telling your customer, hey, your son is doing great in piano. By the way, you forgot to pay me last week, and to really automate and digitize the entire back office experience. Not only are we able to, just help you
Yeah,
in an environment where it's so tough to bring on new employees or to even retain your existing employees, and you are so, you know, um, uh, reduced in terms of access to resource is concerned. To have
yeah,
Finley, in your back pocket to do all of these things is almost, you think about it, as almost like invaluable. You can't really put a price tag
yeah,
on all the time and effort and potential staff that you would be, saving from a cost perspective by using a
yeah,
technology tool. And then at the same time, we also serve as the bridge to access to financial solutions. Because if you
yeah,
are, let's say, a landscaper, right, and your customers are like, "Hey, I know you for 5 years. Can you just pull money from my checking account every month because I pay
yeah,
you for the same amount. You handwrite this
yeah,
invoice in my mailbox. I mail you a check every month. Can you just make it easy for me, please?" What
yeah,
this landscaper is going to end up doing is going to go to his bank and be like, "Hey, can I just pull money from my customer's account?" What that is an ACH debit origination product. What the
yeah, yeah,
bank
yeah,
require out of you to set that up is financials, underwriting, cash collateralized operating exposure. Think about the barrier to entry for a small business, micro business to even like wrap their mind around what that entails. Of course, they're like, no, that's not for me. Sorry, let me just resort back to paper and pen. And then those other customers were like, hey, can I just pay you with a credit card? Because I pay everything with credit card. I get points. I love it. The landscaper is going to be like, okay, well, let me go and look for a provider. And that requires multi-year contracts. Now you're on the hook for disputes and chargebacks. Like, again, how in the world is this like landscaper able to
yeah,
have access to all of those tools that are expected of them from their customer base, but don't
yeah,
have the access to do that, right? But by using Finley, we again bridge the access to things that they otherwise wouldn't easily have access to. And
yeah,
so to really quantify on a monetary basis the value add that we deliver. Not only are we, you know, helping them increase their revenue by accelerating
yeah,
their days receivables outstanding, we're also able to give them access to tools that they can't even buy with money, right?
yeah.
Being the size that they are. So there's definitely a significant value there.
Yeah, I think it's incredible to, talk about access because that's where I think there's a huge gap between,
Mhm.
small businesses and like mid-sized businesses. It's that access and also the capital or the, you talk about underwriting and financial statements, the and not the confidence or clarity, but almost like the history of those statements to be able to even get this access and keep track of it.
Oh my
Is that
goodness.
where you see
Yeah.
a lot of companies, with a lot of small businesses, is it just access or is it something else that hinders them from moving forward?
It's access is it's such a it's a bigger problem than just access. What access
Yeah,
is telling us is just a signal that
yeah,
they are playing in an environment that was not established with them in mind, right?
yeah,
Because I mean, it was very telling during the PPP fiasco where small and micro businesses
yeah,
weren't even eligible for many of it. Are you here to say that this landscaper who has 100 customers that they're paying him on a recurring monthly basis and they're loyal customers, right? This is
yeah,
he's running an amazing business that is like almost recession proof, have long-term customers, and have a recurring revenue business model. This is a darn good business. But this paper, when being presented to a financial institution for, PPP or even traditional lending or, ACH loan to do, some ACH debit origination, he's not going to be looked upon as a high quality customer or credit worthy customer, right? And we've seen that time and time again. So who is to say that this landscaper is a good customer or not a good customer? But the reality is very much telling that that the infrastructure that's set up to evaluate and assess the credit worthiness of this landscaper is flawed, because it wasn't built or established with this landscaper in mind. And that's, again, what we're trying to shift, because there is a reason why, so many of our businesses come from pen and paper. It's because they have evaluated what's outside. They have, signed up for a demo and seen if there's any alternative solutions that they can leverage. Like, they run their business on their mobile phone. So of course they have a relationship with technology. So to say that, they're not savvy with technology, so that's why they're resorting to pen and paper, I think is just not true. A deep degree of unconscious bias that's really stemmed from our lack of understanding to how this huge, vast, market of business owners are running their business. And I think, it is our obligation, right, and on our responsibility to change that. And we do that first by empowering these small businesses with the tools to, one, have the access so they can be in a relative even playing ground, right, a starting point, so that we can, continue to thrive like every other type of business.
Yeah. What in your experience building Finli, what's been the biggest hurdles that you face having to create a system that underwrites and really tracks all this information for small businesses that, just other products didn't have either the capability or maybe that wasn't their primary focus on? What are some of the, whether it's regulatory hurdles or just technology, from technology standpoint, integrating and going through different processes around, building, what was kind of the challenges you face building a product that focuses on an underrepresented, form of business?
Yes, absolutely. So I guess it's twofold. One is more product related, right? Because we have to build out our own KYC, KYB transaction monitoring infrastructure, because if we just, buy from a third party, the algorithm doesn't really accommodate the persona, right, that we are working with. And therefore, the accuracy is pretty much very flawed, when it comes to us leveraging data to make a decision. So we have to bring a lot of these decision-making and infrastructure in-house, right, in order for us to truly serve the clientele that we set out to serve. And then I think the other issue that we face is definitely fundraising, because we're not one of those type of companies that can be profitable overnight. We are a company, right? So there is initial investment in our space. And one of the things that was, I would say, naively caught me off guard was how difficult it was to raise capital from focusing our solution in this space. Because I've been told many times by potential investors, hey, Lori, you have a great underlying technology. Why don't you go up market? Why don't you go after folks with money? Why don't you, just maybe explore venture-backed startups as your small business? Cool, and and to me, I'm just like, I wouldn't have left my corporate job if that's what I wanted to pursue, right? I'm here because, it's in our DNA, it's in our name. Finli stands for financial lives. I'm here to support the undersupported. And so it was really tough. And initially, I naively thought there would be a great amount of empathy that would lead to action. And I was wrong, because I was thinking that, well, all of these, venture capitalists with deep pockets that can really fund us, they're all supported by community-based service providers. So we should all, experience the kind of the common denominator here is that it is very difficult for function and scale. And we as payers, we have a tough time figuring out, have we been invoiced? Have we paid? What is going on here? And
Yeah.
so of course they're going to struggle as well. And thinking that that is something that we all are aligned with, and that money is going to just like flood to Finli to build a solution, I was terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Because this is not a space that traditional VCs are comfortable with, nor have,
Yeah.
uh, you know, a history of investing in. That's
Hmm.
why small micro business platforms, a solution for this audience is very far in between. But
Yeah.
that also poses a great opportunity for us, right?
Yeah.
Because if we really tap into this market and acquire customers at scale, then we could become the de facto in this space,
Yeah.
more sooner than if we were to target any other market where there's more competition.
Yeah. What advice would you give another founder who, has a product in a similar space that isn't maybe traditionally backed by, venture capital? What ways can you, create a compelling reason to raise funding, or ways to either strategize or formulate a structured pitch to really capture what you're trying to get at, and it's also like communicate the long-term vision and that the product can have. It seems like, that probably one of the bigger hurdles is, creating a kind of financial plan, pitching on the potential of the product, but also the efficacy and also the TAM, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, how big the market is for you to capture. What advice would you give another founder who's in a similar position?
Well, so first of all, there's a lot going for us, right? If you think
Yeah.
about the market is huge, whether it's documented, undocumented. Those are the inflow of customers or opportunities to this space is very compelling. And
Hmm.
at this time, if we were to demonstrate value, this market really sells for itself because it and I mean no offense by this, but it's absolutely true. The landscaper supports 50 households. His wife most likely cleans home for 50 others. Their cousin is a handyman for his community
Yeah.
for 20 years. And their friends and families are other, service providers in their community. So if
Yeah.
you're able to demonstrate value, you should expect that they will talk about your solution to each other
Yeah.
and amplify the good work that you do in the community, right? So if you do good by the
Right.
community, you will be able to reap the benefit of the network effect. And then at the same time, be very, very mindful on, customer acquisition, because unit economics is extremely important for this space. I feel like investors are, maybe they have been burned before, or they just feel like this is extremely hard market to acquire, which is absolutely true because it's a fragmented space. These business owners are not easily influenced by digital, impressions. And
Right.
so, or how do you acquire them at scale, cheaply,
Yeah.
effectively, and just quickly?
Right.
And so you are able to figure that out. I think the conversation becomes a lot easier. And so for Finley, we were very fortunate to acquire our customers in a very scalable way. So we
Yeah.
launched in 2020 with 5 businesses, and to date we have over 5,000 businesses using our
Wow.
platform. Yeah, we have business
Impressive.
accounts. Yeah, spanning across the US. So we're very proud of that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, um, none of this would be possible without the support of our earlier investors. And I would say
Yeah.
I pitched to probably hundreds of investors and received a lot of no's.
Right.
And my advice would be, this is a numbers game. You just
Yeah.
have to talk
Yeah.
to as many as you can to refine your pitch, to
Yeah.
figure out what works for you, and really talk
Yeah.
about the value prop that you're able to deliver and what differentiates you from the market. But most
Yeah.
important, more than anything, is my conversations got a lot easier once I was able to identify the investors that truly understand my space. Because you can
Yeah.
either spend 20 minutes out of the 30-minute pitch convincing this investor that there is a market, because he's never invested in this space
Right.
before and he doesn't
Yeah.
know that there are like landscapers out there that need to get paid.
Yeah.
Or you can, after those VCs that have a history of investing in SMB tech and
Yeah.
impact investing. like they get the TAM, they understand the opportunity, they understand the
Yeah.
persona. So really the conversation is like, how are you able to do it? And that conversation is a
Yeah.
lot more fun than being like, no, 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 there are people out there that needs this,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like,
What's you talk about this in terms of this customer acquisition and this whole funnel is so fascinating and a lot of founders selling to another founder of a company called Alinea that create playlists for investing and they were talking about the different ways that they had to launch or relaunch their features or pivot to acquire customers in a strategic way because it wasn't they were viral on TikTok, but it didn't necessarily lead, into the results that they were expecting in terms of client acquisition. But how did you, I guess, go through the different evolution of acquiring customers to, create a really scalable way to do so? I'm so fascinated on that process and how you were able to, pitch a product and get people onboarded and using and then creating this network effect. Was it your first hypothesis? Was it your 20th? What was the process like to really identifying the way that you can onboard customers?
yeah, so it definitely wasn't easy. Right? It was a combination of our development with our product as well as really getting smarter on the funnel and which funnel to
Yeah.
really allocate resource or our limited resources to.
Yeah.
We made all the mistakes that you
Yeah.
can fathom, right? We had boots on the ground. I had knocked on doors, canvassing, cold called. I've like just dialed for dollars on Yelp. Like I've tried
Yeah.
every single thing. Oh, how hard would it be to acquire my first, 50 customers? It was really hard, if we're to go the traditional route. And then I realized, okay, that is definitely not a scalable um, path, nor
Yep.
was it a good path for me to quickly learn about, what the right messaging is, because oftentimes you're blocked by the gatekeeper and you're never able to have an engaging conversation with the decision makers. And then at the same time thinking that coupled with doing demos, that was also another mistake that we had. Well, because in my
Yeah.
mind I'm thinking, well, our product is not that straightforward. If they're coming to us not from a digital invoicing platform but from pen and paper, we need to show them
Yeah.
how to digitize an invoice, right? And so I was making a lot of assumptions that
Yeah.
turned out to be incorrect, right? Thinking that they
Yeah.
need a lot of hand holding, they need a human and all that stuff. And at the same time, those assumptions didn't translate to good unit economics, right? Because you
Mhm.
should never
Yeah.
have boots on the ground one-on-one sales and one-on-one demos to target a very low price point product.
Yeah.
As Finli, we charge $39 a month.
Yeah.
It's for full access of our platform. And so what we, you know, uh, morphed into from a go-to-market standpoint was a combination of just us getting really smart in targeting one-to-many opportunities. So like
Yeah.
agencies, associations, platforms that have a curated already, a highly engaged audience of small business owners that could benefit from Finley solutions. So leveraging them to distribute our product in a
Yeah.
scalable way where they have full engagement of their customer base.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, we really invested a lot of time and effort in automating the onboarding, automating self-serve, making sure that it's truly self-serve. So businesses can find us, onboard, and issue their first payment in minutes.
Yeah.
Removing the friction. And so that by doing the combination of both of those things, it really accelerated our growth to where it is today. And I am just extremely optimistic to
Yeah.
what the future of Finley look like just in the upcoming months. We're currently going through every factor. So we have version 2 of our product in market today.
Yeah.
Version 3 is going to launch in February. I'm so excited for that. It's going to be so much better and more
Yeah.
powerful than what we currently have because we've taken in consideration and incorporated all of the feedback that we've received from our customers now. And then, it's just going to be, onward and upward from here.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I love the process of going through, the go-to-market strategies because I think that's something that's not as spoken about in a lot of, founder conversations is, how to
Right.
get your product out there, how to acquire customers, what do they care about, what are the different avenues, and a lot of times, I wouldn't say a lot of times, but the partnership strategy with an already curated audience is such a hack to getting into, your first customer base, but also a continued customer base and also some confidence or trust in your product. So, it's incredible that you went through those different iterations and found, really almost like a launch pad to the 5,000 customers that you have today, which is so impressive. What are some of the biggest risks that Finley faces today?
Wow. That's a really good question. One of the biggest risks that we face is we are, uh, n- it would be us taking on more than what we
Mm,
can handle, right?
yeah,
Hence us going through a refactor to make sure that our
yeah,
platform can scale for more customer base. Because when we don't have the right balance of customer acquisition and then what we can serve and manage and scale with, then that becomes a big problem because all the effort that we put forth to acquire the customers, if we can't support them, they're going to churn, right? And so, and for this customer base, word of mouth is so important. So if we don't do right by one cluster of customers, they're going to tell their community and tell one another. And next thing we know, we can't penetrate this market anymore. And the
yeah,
cost to acquire
yeah.
this customer back is like X folds more, right?
Yeah,
So we have to really tread lightly and make sure that everything we deliver is with a lot of insight, a lot of heart, and a lot of research,
yeah,
to make sure that we're kind of every step we take is on firm grounds, and that's
yeah,
kind of the challenge there. Because if they entrust us with helping them get paid, right, that is a huge responsibility we have on our shoulders.
right,
So it better be on time, it better be accurate, and we better delight their customer base, right? Because we
yeah,
are kind of the behind the scenes engine that has to do with money collection for these small
mm,
businesses that put so much trust on us. And so I would say that's, that sense of responsibility also poses the highest risk. And so we just have to, we have to treat it responsibly.
yeah. If everything goes right, what's the long-term vision for Finley?
The long-term vision for Finley is that we do want to be the go-to financial platform for small businesses. Our current solution in market is an account receivables management system, right? It's
Yeah,
helping these businesses get paid. But what we have kind of in the pike is we want to continue to expand our financial solutions offering. We went
yeah,
into the market with helping our customers get paid because this is the stickiest component of their entire business.
yeah,
We don't want to be the fifth debit card in their wallet, right? Behind Chime, Novo, Chase, Bank of America, right? It's just too much to compete there. It's too
yeah,
crowded. But if we own their relationship with their customers, and if their customers are set up on auto pay to pay their invoices through Finly to them, they're not going anywhere, right? And
yeah,
as long as we continue to demonstrate value and iterate on our, solutions in market, then we're only going to make these relationships stickier and more engaged and more fruitful. That then allows us almost to look at our product and market today as a lead magnet for us to do
yeah,
implement additional financial services. So helping our customers get paid is really just step one of Finly.
yeah,
Eventually, we want to be the de facto go-to platform that displaces all of the other financial tools that they have in their wallets, right?
yeah.
To just Finly.
I love the what you said, owning the relationship with their customer because, if you're able, it's such a sticky product. If you're able to,
Mhm.
achieve that and then, you kind of build upon those services is I think it's such a brilliant way to go after it versus offering, one part of a solution to a much greater problem. Um, I guess whether now or I always love to ask this question, one for selfish research, but also for my audience, whether it's now or in the past, but what books or people have influenced you the most, but and even influenced you today as you build Finley?
Books. My favorite book is actually is Christoph. I think it's called Women. Uh, something about wait. I the title escapes me, but essentially is women. Hold up half the sky, and and it really is such a motivational book for me. And I
Yeah,
probably read it 3 times and gave it to my sons to read as well. And it just
yeah,
it's like it compiles various stories across the globe on how women,
yeah,
take on so much responsibility and multitask, and is really driving, how their
yeah,
communities function.
yeah,
And I'm absolutely empowered by all of those stories of amazing women. And they of
Yeah.
course serve as inspiration for me as I continue to navigate through life as a mom and as a caretaker.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, thank you for sharing that. I haven't heard that book yet. And it's so fascinating how different founders kind of, grab certain, whether it's anecdotal stories or other people, and their influence upon their career and how it kind of translates long term. So it was exciting to get new, pieces of information that we can all dive into and get some inspiration from. Well, Lori, I know we're at time, but thank you so much for chatting with me and getting to know your background, your experience, the problems you're solving in the community, but also on a grander scale, the market that you're trying to tackle. And I really think it's brilliant the way your strategy is and where your focal point is. And I'm so excited to see, what comes about in 2023 when you launch the version 3 of your product. But last little bit is, where can we be a part of that? Where can we support Finli? Where can we be a fan of the product? Where can we go to demo it? What's your LinkedIn's, your websites, your Twitters? Where can we be a part of Finli and the vision?
Absolutely. Please just visit our website, finli.com, and
Yeah.
subscribe to our newsletter, to our Finsider, so that you can get the latest and greatest on all the great work that we're doing for communities. We recently launched a spotlight campaign where we showcase small businesses in the community that's just trying to do good and really like shed light on their story, their origin story, and like what their struggles are and how we as the community can help one another. And then the title of the book is Half the Sky. I kind of just added a couple
Half the
of more
sky.
words.
Got it. Yeah.
It's about women holding up half the sky, but the title is Half the Sky, Nicholas Kristof.
Love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Lori. I'm so excited to share this with my audience. And there's a lot of small business owners that do, you join the podcast as regular listeners, and so many people in my community that I think could benefit from your platform. So I hope you enjoyed yourself, and thank you again for being on the show.
Yep, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.